Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're going to be replacing this cracked screen on the iPhone 8. Okay, so you're going to want to power the phone down just by holding this side power button and slide it to off. Just make sure that the phone is off for this. Now you want to be really careful on these kits because they give you several different screwdrivers and you want the proper pentalobe one, as it's called. So we're going to remove these two screws here on each side, and you want to really make sure that it's nice and firm in there. You don't want to strip these with the wrong screwdriver. Okay, so next we're going to take a hair dryer and we're going to warm the front of the phone. You don't want it to get too hot and damage anything, so you want to keep moving back and forth in this direction. And we're just getting the glue that's down in here to be a little bit more pliable because it's pretty brittle. You don't want it to crack or break anything. Okay, so with the phone warm to the touch, we're going to take our plunger tool here, our suction cup, and you want to get it as close to the home button as you can here towards the bottom. Now, older phones would flip upwards. This one's actually going to open this way, but we're going to go ahead and just break it apart here from the bottom. Okay. So a technique you'll want to use is as you're pulling upward on the plunger, you can't pull too hard or it just pops off, but use downward pressure with a knife like this with a really thin blade, and you want to be careful, but you want to put it right inside that crack and use the downward pressure on the knife to hold the phone down, and then the upward pressure with the plunger, and then you'll notice if you just keep pushing straight down, it'll start to lift. So just go around the bottom here, and eventually you'll be able to get under it, but you want to be really careful not to mar up the phone case, but that's the best way. So once you'll be able to get the tip of the knife in there like this, you can gently pry side to side. There we go. Okay, so now you'll have enough of a gap that you can lift up with your thumb here and get a guitar pick under through here and just work your way around the phone. And don't get it stuck in there too much. But you're going to want to just go down the side of the phone like this. So we can see that it's opening. Remember, it's going to swing open. Next, we're going to take off this bracket right here, and you're going to be using a Phillips, which is the 4-point. So don't get confused because the kits come with multiple pointed ones. Make sure that you can feel it in there nice and firm before you start twisting. If it's the wrong screwdriver, you really don't want to strip these out. So go ahead and remove these screws here. Okay, we're going to put these over a nice safe place too. Okay, now this bracket will come off. And now we need to take off this ribbon. So you're going to want to do that with a nice flat tool here, and it just unplugs just like that. So we just popped it off. When we reinstall it, it'll just go straight down. Then there's a second one in here. Same thing, you'll just pry it up so that you have both of these two loose. So now we're going to take out 3 screws for a bracket here. That's going to be this one, and directly at the top there's one here, and you want to be careful on this top one because there's another one right next to it. So out of these screws, these two are small ones, and the one in this top over here is actually just slightly longer. Okay, then you can go ahead and remove that bracket. Set it out of the way. So next we're going to undo this ribbon here too, just by gently twisting it. Now for the forward facing camera, we're going to take off 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are cross point Phillips. So once we can move this bracket out of the way, now we're going to remove a few pieces in here. So you're going to lift up slightly. Let me get this screw out of the way real quick. But you're going to lift up on the forward-facing camera, which is this piece right here. And so once you lift up on it slightly, you can pull out from behind it to the speaker. And just set that aside. Okay, then you're going to want to pull the actual camera right here backwards. And now we're going to come in here on this section, right above where that gold piece is. You're just going to get behind it and very gently pry that off. Okay, so that's just the speaker right there for the phone. Okay, I'm going to get way under here on these little gold rivets. Okay, now we're taking out the 3 tri-head screws, so there's only 3 points on these little guys. And there's 3 of them that are just running down the side of the case here. Then we have some more on the other side of the screen here that we're taking off. Okay, and now we're going to remove these tri-point screws at the bottom for the home button. Okay, so now you're going to want to unplug the home button electrical connector here. Then come in and gently pry upwards to get that pin released. Now this part you'll have to peel kind of out of the way here. Then we're going to slide the rest of the home button out the front. Now we're going to take off this whole plate here, so we're going to get underneath it like that. And the other end here is going to be held on with some adhesive, so it will take some slight prying. And also right here we have a ring that we just need to pop off. There we go. So on this particular kit, this is our new one, you will remove this protective film and get it out of the way. And next we're going to go ahead and push this black cable forward, and we're going to put our plate back over this just the way that it came off. So line it all up on the corners here. So as you place this here, just make sure that these line up over here, and on the back side you're going to have where that part needs to go right down inside. You'll see where they all line up. Okay, so we lined up our bracket here, and we put in on each side these 3 screws that went onto the side of it. Okay, now we're going to run our home button through the front of the phone there. Make sure that it's nice and flush on the back side. Okay, so then on your new one, you're going to have to lift this upward and then slide the home screen ribbon down under it. There we go. Okay, now we're going to line up this right there to put that back on that little pin. So with that down, now we can put the home button back on and plug it back in. So you want to just line it up as square as you can and then just push it straight down. Okay, so after we've plugged in this home button electrical connection, we're going to put our bracket right over the top. We're going to go ahead and put those screws back in. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we removed the protective film that this one had come with. Now we're putting this assembly back in. So you just want to line it up here. And this is what we're paying attention to on this, is these little holes, just like right there. And on the other side here. So you're lining those 2 holes up first. So now for this part here with these 2 little boxes, you're going to want to fold it over like that so that this mesh side is showing. And we're pushing this down right up into the top like that. So you want that to line up just right for that forward-facing camera. Next, we're going to take our box here, and as you can see, it has this oval shape here that needs to go down into this hole right here. Okay, so on this box we're putting in the 2 screws on the bottom only. Then our camera goes down next, and then we have our bracket that goes over the camera. And we'll go ahead and put those ones in. Okay, and then we just put this bracket back on top with its screws here, here, and one down there with the bottom 2 screws for this going in. Okay, so next we're going to take our new top portion here. We're going to come under like this and plug that connection back in at the top right there. Okay, next our bracket goes back into place here. We have 3 tiny screws to put in. 1, 2, and at the top 3.
And the top one was the long one.
Okay, now we're just going to plug in these 2 ribbons into their proper spots. Okay, now at this point, before we go any farther, we're going to test it. Make sure the cameras work, make sure everything works. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the power button on the right hand side. So far we're getting a good screen showing here. On a battery install I did once, I had lines going through the whole thing because the ribbon cable was not properly connected. So this is looking good. And we're going to go ahead and just test the camera. So when you're sure that everything's working on the phone and you've tested it, you can put this bracket back here. And so there was a long one up here a long one in the center, and then these two were the smaller screws. Okay, so then you're just going to put it down on this side and hinge it back together, and then very gently just go around and click it back into its place.
Then just install those pin-up screws right into the front, and that should be it. Thanks for watching.